But I want to say good afternoon to those Eastern Time and good morning to the rest of you. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee all the youth and educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we'd like to welcome you guys to Canton, Ohio here. And we're extremely excited, as we were with the earlier group as well, to bring you guys a part of this series titled Heart of a Hall of Famer. And really what we mean by this is, we want to convey what it took to get in the Hall of Fame just beyond the athletic ability. We know that these Hall of Famers are great examples of athleticism and talent, but it took a lot more than that to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It took those core character qualities, words like accountability and hard working, determination, and then those six pillars that you guys are all studying: the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Those are at the core of our Hall of Famers that make them not only successful on the field, but you'll find, and Mr. Dean is a perfect example of this, is being successful off the field as well. We have Hall of Famers that are on TV. We have Hall of Famers that are pastors. We have Hall of Famers that are business owners. We have Hall of Famers that were U.S. congressmen. We have a Hall of Famer that's a Minnesota Supreme Court justice. The list goes on and on of the successes. Most of our guys have been just as successful, if not more successful, off the field as they were on the field. Because again, that talent was just a component of who they are, but their character is what carries them through all elements of their life and allows them to be successful in all elements of their life. So that's what we're here to talk to you guys today a little bit about, are some of these character qualities. And before we ask Mr. Dean for his opening remarks and we do an introduction for Mr. Dean, there are a number of folks that we do have to thank that help make this possible. There's a team, almost a football team here. We got almost 11-man roster here that help make this possible. So I would like to thank those folks. First and foremost, you might have seen where Mr. Dean is being hosted. The big T in the background, that's Tech. That's Louisiana Tech, and his alma mater as well. But thank you to the folks at Louisiana Tech. Matthew led it, the student helper there that's been helping along, Kathy Caraway and David Cargill, the director of the IT there, and all those folks. Thank you very much for opening your doors for Mr. Dean to come and utilize your studios. We have to thank our friends at eTech Ohio again. They are the ones that make all these connections possible for us, that we have multi-conferencing, multi-schools connecting. Thank you for your support, Mark and Paul and Josh and all those folks that have been answering the phone calls and testing with all these schools. Thank you very much. We need to thank our teachers, obviously. Teachers, thank you for finding that this program has value to you, and that choosing to select this program and prepare your students for what I think is going to be, judging by this morning's interaction, that I think is going to be a great interaction between your students and Mr. Dean. And last but definitely not least, we have to thank the students, because again, as I shared the last session, the students are the stars of the show. You're the ones driving the questions. You're the one that have done the prep work, done some research on Mr. Dean's background, done research on the six pillars, and are going to ask some good quality questions about those particular areas. So thank you for all of your hard work and your preparation and making this program successful. So thank you. I'd like to get to our introduction of our featured speaker here today, and that's Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Fred Dean. He was selected in the second round in the 1975 draft by the San Diego Chargers. He played linebacker in college, eventually moved to defensive end. Quickness, speed, and strength, as you'll see in this video that I'll show you here in just a minute, made him a feared pass rusher. Career sack total near 100, but some of you may or may not know the sack wasn't an official stat that was kept until 1982. And in 1983, he had a career best 17 and a half sacks. He was named All-Pro in 1980 and 1981, All-AFC twice, All-NFC twice, and named to 4 Pro Bowls. He was born in Arcadia, Louisiana. Some of his other athletic achievements include Louisiana Tech University Athletic Hall of Fame, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, Boys Club of New York All Sports Hall of Fame, San Diego Chargers Hall of Fame. Now get this, not just one Hall of Fame for a team, but 2. He's also part of the San Francisco 49ers Hall of Fame. He's a part of the College Football Hall of Fame, so he's got a lot of Hall of Fames attached to his name. And then he was voted #1 athlete in the history of Northeast Louisiana. And lastly, the biggest honor that an individual football player can achieve in the professional ranks, he was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame here in Canton, Ohio in 2008. Off the field, some tidbits about Mr. Dean. He is a Ruston High School graduate, Louisiana Tech, as well as, again, as I said, you get the LT in the background there. He went to United Theological Seminary and Bible College, got a certificate of license in the gospel ministry in 2004. He has Bachelor of Theology that he completed in 2003. He has a Master's of Theology that he completed in 2005. In 2008, he went on to use those ministry skills and founded his own ministry, New Nature Ministries, there in Ruston, Louisiana. And then in 2012, this year, he became officially an ordained pastor. And he is currently the pastor of that same church that he founded, New Nature Ministries. And one of the things that he said he enjoys on the side as well is he's a fisherman too. He enjoys fishing as well. So before we go to Mr. Dean's opening remarks of the program, I want to show you guys a little bit of a highlight of Mr. Dean's playing career.
A standout linebacker in college, Fred Dean was moved to defensive end after being drafted by the San Diego Chargers. Despite tipping the scales at just 230 pounds, he dominated opposing blockers, amassing an estimated 100 sacks in his career. In 1981, Dean was traded to San Francisco, where he played for almost 5 seasons. In 1983, he led the NFC with a career-best 17.5 sacks. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, Fred Dean was named an All-Pro twice and played in 4 Pro Bowls.
If all the schools can unmute your mics for a second and join me in giving a warm round of applause and a welcome to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Fred Dean. Go ahead and mute your microphone, schools, and Mr. Dean, the microphone is yours, sir.
First of all, let me say good evening, and hope everybody's doing fine. Yeah. Well, to first start off, let me say that I enjoyed dealing with youth. I enjoyed dealing with people in general. My priority these days are to do the things that it takes in order to help people advance in whatever ways possible, and to get a better understanding of what it is that they want to do or achieve in life. My goal has always been to do the best that I can when I can, and to try to surpass things that I normally would doubt myself being able to do. I found that in my upbringing, you know, with my mother and father, they were very stern in our lives. I would say they laid mom really laid the hammer down on everybody. She put forth the effort to make everything right for you. You know, in the day, a lot of folks would say that's abuse, but I call it unconditional love. And just to look back on it and think about how they would make us go to church and do the different things that we normally do in life. But I find that a lot of the youth today, they don't really care to do those things, and if so, they do it in a different manner. But whatever it is, the method, it's always a method to the madness, and I feel that kids today can make a big difference in their life by what they decide to do and how they decide to do it, by stepping out on their own belief, their own understanding, and not letting anybody put them down or put them in a place where they can't make it. It's always been my goals to be the best I could be at whatever I tried to be, whatever I wanted to do. I wanted to achieve certain things in my life, and I would set that aim, that goal, and I would go after it. It didn't matter what it was, and I'm saying I had a lot of people, positive people in my life. I'm saying to be around a lot of the people that I was around, it played a big part in my life, because they were very instrumental in helping me to get to the next level of being able to do the things that I wanted to do, I thought about doing. And I had a lot of teachers that changed my lifestyle. You know, there was a lot of coaches that changed my life. So I'm saying there was so many people that were instrumental in my life, you know, and there's not enough time to tell you about them all. And that, you know, there were good people and there were people that were not so good in my life. But the bottom line is the good outweighed the bad, and that was all that was important to me. I always, like I said, I always went to church. Mom and Dad was one of the things they made us do, and you know, you learn good fundamentals from the church. I did, and it helped me to advance in life, and I could deal with people a lot better and get a better understanding of people in a certain sense, and know how to treat people, and learn to treat as I wanted to be treated. So life, you know what I'm saying, life it has not always been roses for me, but I was always able to put things on the back burner and go forward in life with what I wanted to achieve.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dean. And for the schools that are tuning in, we would like to ask you guys, number one, as we all know, keep your microphones muted till we call upon you. But we're going to go in the order of questions. We're going to go Bennett High School, Bozeman, Post Oaks, and Kings River. And one of the things I like to do before we go to those questions is I would like to recognize those schools that are participating. So not only Mr. Dean can see you, but then all the other schools that are tuned in can see each other as well. So before we go to the questions, I'd like to go through the schools and ask you to unmute your microphones as I call upon you and give a little cheer or something like that. Give a little shout out or whatever it is you want to do. So let's go to Bennett High School in Buffalo, New York. Woo! that is weak, Bennett. Let's try it again.
It's weak this year, Jerry. It's weak.
Okay, I know. Jeez. I thought Buffalo folks were, you know, I thought you guys were football fans. You're supposed to be excited, right? All right. Thank you, Bennett. Go ahead and mute there. Let's go to Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman High School. Thank you, Bozeman. The state of New York got showed up by Montana there, but thank you, Bozeman. Let's go ahead and mute your microphones there, Bozeman, and let's go to Virginia, Post Oaks Middle School in Spotsylvania.
Yeah, okay, let him know.
Virginia representing there. All right, thank you, Virginia. Very good. And last but definitely not least, let's go to Hanford, California, Kings River Hardwick. I think Callie's got it. I think Callie got it. So thank you, Callie. Let's go ahead and mute your microphones, all the schools, and we're going to come back to Bennett here in just a second to start the program with questions. We're going to go from one question from each school, and we will rotate in order of Bennett, Bozeman, Post Oaks, and Kings River. But you know, as we told the earlier groups, I want you guys to realize this. There have been 20,000 players that have played in the National Football League since it started here in Canton, Ohio in 1920. Since that time, there have only been 273 members enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you get an idea of how elite of a class that Mr. Dean is in, being the very best of the best in the National Football League. And, you know, you start thinking about the defenders today, whoever it is that you enjoy, whether you're, you know, an Ed Reed fan or a Ray Lewis or a Clay Matthews or, you know, whoever it is that you're a big fan of defensively, they aspire to be in Mr. Dean's shoes someday and be a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And again, I think they probably aspire, if they knew more about his background and knew more about the backgrounds of our Hall of Famers, what they're doing off the field, I take a pretty good guess that they would aspire to be who they are off the field as well. So what that means for you guys is you have the opportunity to ask one of the greatest football players ever in NFL history Ask him questions about adversity that he faced in life, not only on the field, but off the field as well. What life lessons has he learned? What advice can he give you? Those sorts of things can be asked here today. And this is the great thing about this technology, is that we can do this with students all across the country and give you the opportunity to ask those types of questions. So with that being said, we're going to start the program off with our good friends there at Bennett High School in Buffalo, New York. And Bennett, go ahead with the first question of the program.
What was your favorite team that you played against?
Well, my favorite team that I played against, well, it's kind of hard, but hard question. I guess my favorite team that I played against would be the Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you very much, Bennett. And we get a good warm-up question to get going. Let's go to Bozeman, Montana.
Have there been times when being a man of character has made a situation better?
You hear it?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Ask the question again.
Oh.
Could you say it? Good.
You say it again.
Have there been times when being a man of character made a situation better?
Oh yes, there definitely been times when being a man of character made it better for me in more ways than one. To go through life and to be recognized by people for who you are and what you are and what you've done. It makes a big difference in your life. I'm saying it gives you a certain amount of proudness and pride that you can look up to and look at and see that you are stepping out on something that is new and true to you.
Thank you very much, Bozeman. Let's go to Virginia, Post Oaks.
How did some of your previous coaches inspire you?
Well, my coaches inspired me. A lot of my coaches, they inspired me by, the things that they say to me, things that they do. They, sometimes it seemed like they were being really rough on me and hard on me, but the bottom line is that they weren't really being rough or hard at all. It was all a positive thing, because number one, my attitude was always to do better, to be better, and they put the necessary ingredients in me to make me feel as though there wasn't anything that I couldn't achieve.
And that's a great point to bring up, is that the coaches do that for their players, but your teachers are doing the same thing for you guys in the classroom as well. As he put it, the teachers are getting the necessary ingredients that they know that you need to be successful in life. So I mean, those coaches are in all elements of our life. We have teachers or coaches, or vice versa. We'll say coaches or teachers, so to speak. So you do have those folks in your life that can help shape you, because they might see something in you that you might not even necessarily see in yourself, and they might know how to bring that out of you, and they won't be able to bring that out of you unless you let them. So I think that's really important to have those positive influences in your life, like coaches and teachers. So let's go to thank you, Post Oaks. Let's go to Hanford, California, Kings River.
You're a Hall of Famer. Did you try so hard so you could be in the Hall of Fame someday? If not, what did you do that made you a Hall of Fame type player?
Well, I guess you would say it was from the hard work. I guess you would say it was from the hard work, my determination to get to the next level and do the next thing. I'm saying, to be in the Hall of Fame, I never really pictured myself being in the Hall of Fame, but the thing was that the people that chose me, they saw fit that I deserved to be there, and it's because of, number one, my hard work, my belief in what I did and how I did it, and the way I advanced in the things that I did. It's what I'm saying, it's not really easy. Anything that you want to achieve in life is it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of hard work. I'm saying regardless of what it is, whether you want to be doctor, lawyer, football player, baseball, whatever it is, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of hard work. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna run up on many obstacles in your life, but the bottom line is, if you keep a straight head, a straight heart, you will achieve what you set out to achieve.
And Mr. Dean, would you say you take that same approach to your ministry as well?
Oh yes, definitely. I definitely take that approach because number one, you in life, you know, you never can tell what you can do to change somebody's life, or maybe something you say or do, an action of kindness, of love, whatever it may be. It will more than likely will probably affect somebody's life in some shape, form, or fashion, and it could easily turn somebody's life around. So it all plays a major role.
I think in some of the remarks that you're going to hear today that we heard earlier as well, you're going to see one pillar really stand out. At least it stood out to me when you talk about those 6 pillars. Is with Mr. Dean, I think caring is one, just in my opinion, that you really hear that come out in what he's saying. Caring for his fellow man, not fellow players, fellow athletes, but fellow man, and being concerned with helping them further themselves in life. So. Let's go to Bennett High School in Buffalo. Start with your question.
Your question.
Go ahead. Okay, we have another question here.
Who was the toughest player that he's ever played against?
Who was the toughest player he's ever played against?
Yeah, who's the toughest player?
Well, being that I was small in size and stature when I was coming along, I'm saying there was quite a few guys that gave me a pretty rough time. But the bottom line is I was always able to endure. And I say Art Shell was pretty tough. Another Hall of Famer, and then there was a number of guys that was pretty good.
And Mr. Dean, those obstacles, whether they're in the shape of a offensive lineman like Art Shell, or they're in the shape of another obstacle in life, what's your advice for overcoming those obstacles, or how did you overcome an offensive lineman or overcome another obstacle in another element of your life?
Well, number one, like I said earlier, to visualize what you're going to do against whatever it is, whether it's you're doing a term paper or a test or whatever. Visualize what that test is about. Visualize what that person is about, and then go and do your research, necessary research to make the necessary improvements to defeat to gain whatever it is you need to gain at that particular time. Me personally, my thing is I've always had fun at doing things, and to do them with the amount of fun that I do them with, I'm saying I couldn't lose. I felt that I could always win if I put forth the effort and got the kind of understanding that I need, and it all depended on the people that I was around that would enhance my achievements.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dean. And let's go to Montana, Bozeman.
Hi, my name's Ace Alverson, and what do you think about a league like the league nowadays with the different hitting rules, and also what made you to get to this position of being a Hall of Famer?
The last part of that question I didn't get.
What made you to get to this position of being a Hall of Famer?
Okay. Well, what I think about the league, the policies that they're putting in, they kind of, to me, it's, we were able to really hit and do some good things. But today they're kind of taking that away from it. It's because of the safety of the players and so forth, and I can understand that. But my thing was, back in the day, I could really smack it, and that's what I had. And, and to do that, you know, you know, for me it was my way of living, my way of life, and to take that away from me these days, it kind of, for me, it took away a little bit of the game. But like I say, I understand that it's for the safety of the players. And it's for the Hall of Fame. I'm saying I never even imagined that I'd get there, be there. But I did the best I could do on the field. And, you know, if you do the best you can do, good things will happen.
Okay. I think we gathered how you like to hit people from that highlight film, especially the one where you kind of picked Boomer Esiason up and drove him behind you. It looked like a WWF wrestling move or something like that you did there. But thank you, Bozeman. Let's go to Virginia, Spotsylvania.
What are your favorite things to do besides play football?
Well, I like to do a lot of things. At one time, I really liked it. I like poetry. I like to read books. But my favorite thing, my truly great thing, was to do a lot of fishing. I was one of the better fishermen in the world. And I don't know about you, whether you're a fisherman or not, but but I love fishing because I love the challenge of putting a bait on a hook and bringing in the biggest fish. It was always a good thing for me.
Salt water or fresh water?
Well, it didn't matter. Either one. I was good at either one. So it would be great to catch a big marlin, or it'd be great to catch a big bass.
So see, he's reached the pinnacle of success in multiple areas: football, church, fishing. I mean, you name it. You know, he's been at the pinnacle of all of them. So thank you very much, Post Oaks. We appreciate that question. Let's go to California, Kings River.
Thank you. Stand up. Nice and loud.
Who set a good example of character for you when you were my age?
Well, when I was your age, I would say that it was between my mother and father that was the greatest examples for me in my life. You know, the elders can place you in positions that will really help you out a lot in so many ways by just giving them the respect and the just due that they deserve, and looking at the way they carry themselves. And not to say that everybody carries themselves great, but the bottom line is how you carry yourself after you've seen it. Let them be the wheel that turns for you, whether you will be great or whether you just be good.
And Mr. Green, great question, Kings River. If I could follow that up with a comment, you know, and a question to you as well, is, you know, a lot, unfortunately, you know, with divorce rates and things like that, a lot of these, the unfortunate fact is a lot of folks don't have, you know, that stable two-parent home. What advice or you know, experiences or whatever it is you want to share with them for those folks that maybe don't have that stable environment as you grew up in at home?
Well, you know, the thing about that is that I've witnessed it, I've seen it, and I've even Hall of Famers that have just been inducted into the Hall of Fame that have went through those experiences. And the bottom line is, I was fortunate enough to have both my mother and father with me, and but my mother and father were not the only ones that were very positive in my life. I'm saying my grandmother, my grandfather, even the ones on the outside, you know, outside influences, that they played a big part in my life. And, you know, realistically, it's everybody that can act as a stand-up person for you and give you the necessary guidance you need in order to help you in life, to help you better be the type of person that you want to be. And I'm saying they can give you the characteristics that you need in order to best understand. There was a man that when I was growing up, I knew him and I would listen to him talk all the time. He's a much older man, and the things that he would say would affect my life, would change me, just by simply saying, look at you. You can be better than that. You can do better than that. It's just the people in your life. I'm saying everything that is not necessarily a negative when you're coming up. It could be a positive in one way. And I would say it's best for you to make it a positive mode for you. Don't let the world drag you down. I'm saying stand strong. You can have that big heart that you got, and the bottom line is use it.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Dean. Now let's go back to Bennett.
How did you deal with adversity in the locker room?
Well, how I dealt with adversity in the locker room. That's a good question. I wish I could answer it honestly, but I would simply say, don't mess with me. Don't. But the bottom line is simply to treat people the way you want to be treated. If they're going to treat you bad, treat them good anyway. Maybe, just maybe, it might change their attitude. If you can't deal with their attitude, then the bottom line is to take it to somebody that can help you with that person's attitude, regardless of who it is, whether it's a teacher, a parent, or whoever it may be. Because number one, that's how I can recall that when I was coming along, how bullies used to treat me, and how I felt misused and abused in certain things. But the bottom line is, I learned one day how to deal with a bully, and everything changed me and my life since then.
Thank you, and great question there, Bennett. Let's go to Bozeman, Montana.
Hi. I have a question. Is building character, is that like building muscle? Does it take a lot of time? Does it take a lot of work? Is it easy? Is it hard?
Well, anything that's worth having is going to be hard work. If you want to, if you want to be a great athlete, you got to build a muscle. Whether you want to be a boxer, or a track star, or baseball, you got to build the necessary muscles that it's going to take to get that done. Same way in your schooling. If you want to be a great student, you got to work that part of the mind that's going to cause you to be a great student. It's the same muscle group. And in working your muscles, it can help you achieve what you want to achieve and be what you want to be.
Thank you. And I never heard it worded that way. The student that asked that question is building character like building muscle. I think that was a fantastic question that you asked there. Thank you very much. I might, if you don't mind me, maybe borrowing that in the future for some of these future programs. I may just utilize that analogy. Do I have your permission? Yep. Do I have her permission? Bozeman?
Yeah. We're all good. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. I got this recorded, so I can play back if you guys ever try to get me in trouble for using one of your words or using your saying. I got this recorded. I got it documented. Thank you, Bozeman. Let's go to Post Oaks.
Did you ever think you were going to make it in the NFL? I mean, the Hall of Fame.
No, it's not something that I actually thought about. As far as making it into the NFL, when I was drafted, I felt that I could make some good things happen. I felt that I had worked hard enough to get there, and I had pictured myself being there and doing what I could do, and knowing the skills that I had, I felt that I could be a great impact for that team. So I felt good about it.
And speaking of successes, when you think about, not everyone, there's been a lot of players that have played in the NFL. Not everyone gets in the Hall of Fame. Not everyone gets into or wins a Super Bowl. Not every student gets an A on the test. Not every person gets the job that they were shooting for. They get rejected for a particular job. What do you have to say to those folks that tried just as hard, as the other person, but maybe didn't necessarily get what they were shooting for? What advice do you have for them, Mr. Dean?
Well, the only advice that I could give them, if you don't succeed at that, try something else. Every guy that went out to try for football didn't make it, and I know that a lot of guys that had a lot of abilities and a lot of skill. But the bottom line is, just because you don't make it in doing that doesn't mean that you can't make it in something else. You can always try something else. And I'm saying it's sort of like a try me world, and the enterprise is out there for you, whatever you want to try to do. And it's the most important part of it all is to have fun at whatever it is you're doing. And I say success comes with having fun at whatever you're doing, and then you will manifest at whatever it is you do, because number one, you have a certain confidence in yourself when you do those things, and believe me, you can shed light on all the things that you try to do.
And students, I can tell you this right now is, if I were to hire one of you at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for a job here underneath me, I would much rather take, I want shoulder to shoulder with me when we're doing programs and going through the grind of working and some of the stressful situations we put in. I will take a hardworking, a guy or gal that has busted their tail to get a B- over an A student that just coasted to get the A. I will take that hard worker right next to me before I take the person that maybe didn't apply themselves or challenge themselves and just kind of coasted through and got an A. So don't be discouraged. We don't always get that result that we have hoped for, as Mr. Dean says, the one that we visualize in our head as we're going. But again, that doesn't mean we can't. It's again, that's at the core of who you are. That's at the core of who you are. So thank you very much. Let's go to Kings River.
And those of us from Post-Oak are going to have to get ready to go to our next class in a very few minutes. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was fantastic. The kids got a lot out of it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Post Oaks. Thank you very much. Let's go to Kings River.
Hey, Janae. Nice and loud.
As a football player, were you ever treated unfairly because of your race?
Well, I would imagine that the statement, the question that you asked is true in one sense, but my thing was my joy in the game and in life in general. It didn't let me really look at it from that standpoint, because when you put joy in your life, you're happy about the things that you're doing. You really don't have time to look at those things, and when you do, that's when the troubles come in for you. So it's like fill your mind with all positive things, doing the positive things, and don't let anything cheer you from what you want to achieve.
And that student brings up a very observant point about race, with that question, because when Mr. Dean was growing up and in the NFL, the NFL, like our society, was going through a transition in the 60s in regards to race relations. And the NFL went through the same obstacles where you had boycotts in the NFL. You had, the Redskins didn't fully integrate until the 60s. You had Brian Piccolo and Gale Sayers being one of the first black-white roommates in 1968 in the NFL. So you had a lot of obstacles, and you continue to have that up until even 2002 with the Ozzie Newsome from the Cleveland Browns, who's also a Hall of Famer as well, was named the first African-American general manager in the National Football League. So, but as you heard from him, he didn't look at that. He didn't look at that maybe necessarily as a negative, but he had joy in his heart regardless of what was going to happen. So it didn't affect him. It didn't affect who he was or what he was going to do in life. So thank you very much, Kings River. And I want to remind the schools to mute their microphones immediately after. We're getting a little feedback, and I think maybe that was Kings River that kept their microphone unmuted. Let's go to Bennett High School, Buffalo.
So, I want to ask, did you have a plan of what you was gonna do after sports? Yeah.
Well, that's a very good question. Uh, you know, when you first buy out of the game of sports, you often wonder what you're going to do. But I can tell you like this: what you need to do, if you ever got into any sports and so forth, you need to make sure that you get your education so that you can you'll find whatever it is you want to do after you finish that. You will have something to fall back on to go into, and because a lot of times, a lot of guys, you get caught up in the rat race of not knowing what to do when it's all over. But the bottom line is, it all depends. And see, I was a jack of all trades. I could do a lot of things, so I found it pretty easy to do various other things that I'm saying. I worked on cars. I could work in cabinet shops. I could do a lot of different things. I'm saying I just got rid of my flip phone by accident and ended up with an iPhone. I'm enjoying it now. I learned how to answer it. So, you can finally do all of these things. And with the computer, I wish that I had more knowledge about the computer because I see that it's a wave of the world today, and the things that, like all this stuff that's going on right now, it makes a big difference. And you can be the entrepreneur of any of that. So I'm saying there's a lot of things, and the most important thing is to get your education, to get the necessary training you need in order to step out in the next global move.
And he brings up a great point about education. And I don't know if you guys know this, and just because we use it quite often through our educational programs, and you can go to the NFL Players Association to find these statistics as well. But the average NFL career is only 3.5 years. So those of you that are sitting out there that are good enough maybe to make it in the NFL someday, bottom line is you're probably not going to play very long. Not these long careers like you see with Peyton Manning. That's not the norm. 3.5 years is the average. But get this statistic. Players that have completed their 4-year college education, they earn 20 to 30% more money in the NFL, and their careers last 50% longer. And do you guys know why that is? It's their character. If they show the determination and the perseverance to go through and get that college degree, it just comes down to character. That they're going to have the determination and perseverance to achieve in the National Football League as well. So the fact of the matter is, education, even if you're good enough to make it in the NFL, statistics show that by having your education, you're going to make more money and your career is going to last longer in the National Football League. So I just think that's an interesting statistic to bring up. Let's go to Bozeman, Montana.
When you were young, did you know you wanted to be in the NFL?
To be honest with you, no, I did not. I didn't even think that I would play in the NFL. I didn't think I would play football, but I ended up playing, and I was very fortunate to end up in the NFL. So, no, I did not.
And obviously, Mr. Dean had a lot of great coaches and great help. And I asked this last class. I'll ask the same thing, Bozeman. You can unmute your microphones for a second. Do we have any athletes out there? How many athletes are out there? Go ahead and raise your hands for that, because I can see you on screen right now. Okay, a lot of you. Now, whatever sport it is you're playing, whether it's volleyball, baseball, basketball, football, whatever it might be, if you're having a problem in a particular area, whether you're not hitting your free throws or you need to work on a setting, the volleyball or whatever, what do you do?
Practice that.
Practice. You go to your coaches too, right?
Yeah.
To see how to work
you don't
on
have
that. What's that?
I said, well, if you like snowboard or something, like I quit football recently and I started snowboarding, so I don't really have a coach to go to. So if I'm not getting something down really, I just keep trying that over and over again, maybe at different angles and a different position as well, so I could see like maybe that also might be easier or work better for my body.
You got the right attitude. I mean, and as far as there are tons that's a great thing about this world. There are tons of resources out there. So if you want to find a way to have somebody expertise help you, the world's at your fingertips now for the most part. As Mr. Dean said with his iPhone there, I mean, there are resources out there available. None that I am aware of in snowboarding, that I know that I can call right now, but those resources are available out there. But the fact that you are continuing to work on yourself is a great sign that that you have that type of character to do that. So, but we work with the coaches. We work with these coaches, but it's kind of sad that in sports we have no problem going to coaches when we have problems, but in the classroom, for whatever reason, if we're struggling in the classroom, we don't go to our teachers. And I don't know why. I know it's because sometimes it's thought it's unfair. You don't want to look stupid or whatever it might be. But those people are in your life for a reason, because they can help you achieve. And Mr. Dean has had a number of examples, as he's already shared with you, of folks that have helped him achieve. So thank you, Bozeman, for your question. We'll skip over, obviously, Post Oaks. We'll go to California. I see we got about 13 minutes left in the broadcast, so let's go to California.
Were you ever a student leader in your junior high or high school? And have you ever scored a touchdown?
Yes, I was a student leader, and I know that many of you could be student leaders also in your high schools and so forth. And the thing about student leaders, sometimes you can be a silent leader. Your actions will show others that you can lead by your action, and it's the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others. And as far as scoring a score, yes, I scored in high school and in the pros. So, I'm saying that score was the highlight of my life for a minute there. But anyway, you can remember this, you can always be as good as you want to be the best that you can be if you put forth the efforts.
Thank you very much, Kings River. And I think we got time maybe to go through one or two more rounds here. Let's go to Bennett.
Okay, here we go, Jerry.
Oh, what life did you enjoy more, being a football player or being a preacher?
Well, I enjoyed being a football player when I was a football player, but right now I'm really enjoying being a preacher. To share the word of God is really the highlight of my life. I'm saying this is my Super Bowl now. I can really touch a lot of hearts, a lot of souls, and I don't have to concern myself now with a guy standing across from me to harm me, because I said I can do much better than what I've learned through my schooling there. So I'm saying I enjoy the preaching more so than I did football, because if I get hit on the field, it'll hurt. If I get hit in church, it's gonna hurt them.
Thank you. Great question there, Bennett. Thank you very much. Bozeman, we'll go back to you for another one.
What was your motivation at your lowest point in your life?
I'm sorry?
What was your motivation at your lowest points in your life?
My lowest points in my life? Well, I would say that my motivation was I could always give myself inspiration when I needed something. I'm saying when I felt down, basically, I could always pick myself up with what I was thinking and how I was thinking. I'm saying I would go to people that I could share something with, and that's where the trustworthiness comes in. Sharing with true friends, somebody, and then that person will not go and spread it around. It's when you're feeling low, I'm saying that could be a bad moment. But I'm here to tell you now, if you had any joy in your heart, you put joy in your heart, you wouldn't really concern yourself with all of that the low parts in your life, because you know that's gonna come. Low parts of your life are gonna come, and you're gonna be sad and all of that. But the bottom line is the goodness that comes out of your heart and what you feel about it. That will make the difference.
Thank you very much, Bozeman. Great question there too. And let's go to Kings River.
Stand up. Okay. Hi. What do you do when you are playing against other players that didn't play fair? Like,
So, what did I do when I played against other players that didn't play fair? You know, and I have to answer that honestly. I didn't play fair either. But the bottom line is, you know, I continued to play. I continued to be as good. I'm saying I used my necessary skills and so forth. And I had, you know, the bottom line is I had fun. When I had fun and that person was not playing fair, and it would make the game more interesting for me, because if you're not gonna play fair, that means that I'm gonna be coming at you all day long. It's gonna be an all-day affair, and in that in itself, somebody's gonna stop playing dirty and they're gonna play fair after a while.
And Mr. Dean, you touched on this earlier too about, you know, going back to your ministry. One of the things that you do in your ministry is prison ministry, where you counsel, you know, some very young people early in their lives that found themselves in prison. What lessons are you able to instill in them, or what can these students take from those folks that they can, you know, keep themselves steer the right way in life?
Well, the bottom line is when you say when I'm in a prison ministry and I meet the people that's in there, a lot of them are young folks, and it really touches my heart, and to know that you no longer have the right to do certain things, and you're caged up, and you know it's not a place you want to be. So all I can say for younger people, I'm saying, you know, try to keep the straight and narrow. Look and treat folks the way you want to be treated. Plant in you a positive attitude that you can treat people as you want to be treated, and not belittle or put anybody down. Make the necessary steps or the changes that are going to change your life and your lifestyle as far as dealing with people. Because I'm saying you're going to have the different ones that approach you from every angle. But if you have the right energy and the right positive form, and you'll be able to step past all of that and overlook the unnecessary wants in your life, and move on to a better stage in your life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dean. And it looks like we got about 6 minutes left. I think we might be able to rotate through one more time to all the schools, so 3 more total questions. Let's go to Bennett.
Right. Do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions you had before you stepped out on the field?
No, I don't. I didn't go through any rituals. I'm saying what I did, if you want to call it a ritual, I visualized the person that I had to go against, persons, and you know, that's one of the ways in which I would be a challenge for my opponent, to make things difficult for them. You know, it's like in life you're going to get those kind of challenges, and everything that you do, you can be the best you can be, and you can change your situation in any situation you're in. So I would say just keep your head on straight and move forward to what it is that you want to achieve.
Thank you very much, Bennett. Let's go to Bozeman.
So were there ever times in your like football life that you were like, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore? How did you keep going through those?
Well, when it gets to that point in your life, it means that you've gotten tired. You don't want to. That's something that you don't want to do anymore. And I would recommend that you move on to your next stage in your life. I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore after I'd had a few injuries and I couldn't participate because of certain medicines that I had to take. And that's going to happen because football, so it is a rough sport. And being that way, I figured it was time for me to hang the pads up because I didn't think it would improve.
Thank you very much, Bozeman. And let's go to the last question of the program. Kings River, California.
How did you keep yourself calm when you got mad on the field?
How do you keep mad? I didn't hear you. What was the question again?
How did you keep yourself calm when you got mad on the field?
Calmly.
How did you keep yourself calm when you got mad on the field?
Oh, when I got mad on the field? Well, it's not that easy to keep yourself calm when you're in a violent situation on the field. But in order to maintain your composure, it's the respect that you would have for the other person and the other team. You wouldn't go out to hurt anybody, but you'd want to make an impact on that person. And that composure in life it's like that. There's a lot of times that you want to mouth off or do something out of the ordinary, but if you keep your composure and know that it would be wrong for you to do that, or something you say and you want to take it back, but you can't. You've already spoken it. So the bottom line is just to never say it. And then if you get into a position where you put on guard like that, then the bottom line is all I can say is count to 10 and think about it.
Thank you very much. And I'll show you guys again, just in case you missed it. This is how he dealt with the aggression.
A two-time Super Bowl champion, Fred Dean was named an All-Pro twice and played in 4 Pro Bowls.
There you go. As you saw, he body slammed quarterback. That's how he dealt with it. Mr. Dean, are there any last remarks you'd like to share with these students that maybe reiterate or touch on that you didn't touch on throughout your remarks?
Well, all I can say is there's so much that I would like to say and so little time to say it in. I think that all the kids that I've talked to today, I would ask them to keep a positive view on life. Don't let people tear you down. Keep your mind set on what it is that you want to do in life and what you want to achieve. Stand up for what you believe in and don't concern yourself with everything else that everybody else believes in. I'm saying, and be true to yourself. I'm saying, be the type of person that when you grow up that they can say that I know that person, I like that person, and never bend over backwards to do wrong. Always walk straight forward and have the kind of attitude that you will want people to have towards you. I'm saying, learn to love, put a lot of love in your heart, because it's more important for you to put love in your heart and to greet people the way they should be greeted. We can all be, as my son tells me, Dad, don't be a jerk, and I understand what he said, what he means when he says that. And it's not to be disrespectful or anything like that, but it's, sometimes you can say things that will put people on the offense. And to be a bully to those people, it's not fair to them, it's not fair to you. I'm saying there's a way in life that you can put love in your heart, put understanding on your mind, an attitude that would best surpass all understanding. And we can learn to love each other and treat each other with a lot of respect. And I'm saying that's what it's all dealing with. The trustworthy, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship. All of these qualities, they can make the best and be the best in you if only you put them forward and not just us.
Thank you very much, and that was a great closing. I mean, and there's so many things that we can take away from this today, students, myself included. That's why I love doing these programs. Is there's, I learn too. Education doesn't stop at the K to 12, K to 20. I continually educate myself and learn from, folks that have achieved greatness. So I mean, but if you just take one thing away from today, I think maybe Mr. Dean would, he's reiterated it a couple times, is the love in your heart. I mean, that'll carry you through a lot of things in life. So, Mr. Dean, on behalf of the Hall of Fame and everybody here, the staff that you know very well, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to connect with these students from across the country. We greatly appreciate it, and the message came through very well. We greatly appreciate that. Students, teachers, thank you. All the students, thank you for tuning in. Can you all unmute your microphones and join me in saying thank you to Mr. Dean? Again, I want to say thanks to all the schools, Bennett, Bozeman, Post Oaks, Kings River. Thank you. I want to say thank you to E-Tech Ohio for helping host this, and lastly, we've got to thank our friends there at Louisiana Tech University, Kathy and David, Matthew, those folks. Thank you for hosting Mr. Dean today. Without you, obviously, this wouldn't have been possible. So, thank you, everyone. Hopefully, you have a chance to make it here to Canton, Ohio someday to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you do, I've been here 12 years. I'll probably be here another 30. I'll be here in the future, so come look me up. And thank you. Take care. And this concludes our program.
Bye.